Metroidvanias are definitely not my genre of choice, and the main reason for that is because my gameplay tends to look a little something like this. To put it simply, I'm bad. Due to my ineptitude, I like to stay as far away as possible from these games. However, there is one game that has made me break that habit. That game is this wonderful little indie title called Hollow Knight. As much as I tried to look away from its listing on Steam, I just couldn't. The dark yet adorable art style, majestic music, and auspicious summary were too intriguing to ignore. It was only a matter of time before I would give in and buy it, and I'm so glad I did. From the menu screen onward, Hollow Knight delivers beautiful visuals and magnificent sound design time and time again. The atmosphere is rich with every area being distinct, setting itself apart from the others. When I was traversing an area overrun by greenery, the music and art worked so well in conveying the feeling of being in a forest. Put that on top of solid level design and you have a game for the ages. These elements are so important for Hollow Knight because it's a game driven by exploration. When you enter areas, you don't have a map until you bound for the cartographer in that area. So you have to find them first by wandering around and covering as much ground as you can. Catch is, even once you've acquired your map, it's not completely filled out. Now you have to explore some more so your character can scribble the layout down. While you're exploring, you're running into new enemies, and on occasion, paths that are currently inaccessible from your current position. The most notable of possible finds are different items or abilities to help you reach areas like those inaccessible paths. If the atmosphere built had been weak or plain, I know my drive to find new things would have been severely hindered. Thankfully, it was quite the opposite, and I soon found myself forgetting to check the time every now and again. Trekking through uncharted territory has its dangers, but the main character always has his nail nearby to deal with any foes. Really quick, can I just say I really love the fact that the main weapon is called a nail? It's tiny things like that in writing that really go a long way for me. Back to combat for now though, I'll touch more on the writing later. Combat can definitely be a challenge at first, even when fighting the weakest of enemies. Since my 2D platforming could use some help, and my skill when it comes to Metroidvanias is lacking, I got really acquainted with death. Yet it wasn't as frustrating as I thought it would be. Hollow Knight is very fair, attacks are telegraphed, and it never felt like it was asking too much of me. When you die, you lose all of your money and a copy of your character is left behind. If you return to the area and kill the copy, all of your money is returned. It's a solid system that punishes death but never left me feeling completely screwed. Whenever I died to one of the many bosses, I was never left feeling completely hopeless. Even if my performance against it was subpar by my standards, I always had this sensation of victory being just slightly out of reach. That sensation is what kept me trying over and over and over again until I finally conquered that obstacle. It also made winning all the more satisfying. So I very briefly mentioned writing, and much like the level design in Hollow Knight, I find its writing to be quite distinct. When it comes to the overarching story, the game really only gives the player enough to nudge them forward in the beginning. Instead of having a bunch of things to read or a main character that doles out the information for you, the storytelling is done through every character you meet. They each have their own personal anecdotes, and through those short words shared with you, it becomes easier and easier to put the pieces together. The most notable thing about this though, is that even though each character has a few short sentences, their personalities are conveyed so well. Every character I met intrigued me in one way or another, and none of them felt the same. I just love everything about the writing in Hollow Knight. One character called me a cur, and I don't think I've ever been so excited to be insulted in my life. This game has shown me that sometimes the smallest details in writing can be some of the biggest contributors to carrying the right atmosphere. If you missed Hollow Knight back in February like I did, it's a game I would definitely recommend. Its masterful sound design, beautiful art style, and clever writing sets it up to be a really great game. It took me around 20 hours to complete it for the first time, and upon hearing it has multiple endings, I've jumped back on my save file, and I'm now working towards 100% completion. It's rare for me to enjoy a game enough to want to 100% it, but at this moment I'm just not ready to put Hollow Knight down. If you're a fan of the Metroidvania genre, then I'd go as far as to say that at $15, this game is a must-buy. If you're not a fan, it roped me in, so I'd definitely say give it a shot. Now normally this video would end here and shift to the end slate with a multicolored background, but I want to leave you guys with a song from the Hollow Knight soundtrack titled Dirtmouth. So, for more reviews on video games and hardware alike, as well as first looks, editorials, and build guides, be sure to head on over to kbmod.com. Enjoy.